Found in the Nuka World DLC of Fallout 4 is the story of tragedy, heartbreak and paranormal activity. A family slain and a daughter locked away. Dare you enter the haunted Grandchester mansion and uncover the secrets of Morticia, Hannibal and their young daughter Lucy? Today, that's exactly what we're going to do. Welcome to the video. You're listening to Phil of Philby Gaming. If you enjoy the following, you all know what to do, and if you're new to the channel and haven't subscribed already, after watching, please consider doing so. With that being said, let's continue on and uncover the mystery that surrounds the death of all three members of the Grandchester family. We can find the Grandchester mansion in the southeast regions of Nuka World. We learn pretty quickly that the home has now become a tourist attraction for locals. So by either convincing the ticket collector to let you in, or by grabbing one of the scattered tickets across the floor, we are not only permitted to access, but are given a little insight as to the ongoings many years prior.
Why did little Lucy gruesomely kill her parents? It's a mystery. See where she committed the bloody deed. Marvel at the animatronic models. See the actual kitchen where her mother lovingly prepared her meals. See the blood stains that can't be washed out.
Keen-eyed players may notice a figure in one of the upstairs windows to the home. Is this the Lucy the ticket taker speaks of, or simply a stray trying to survive the wasteland, just as we all are? Our answers lay inside. Heading through the front doors of the mansion, we're greeted with a narration as we explore, where we'll take the tour and discuss our findings afterwards.
The story of the Grandchester Mystery Mansion begins with Morticia and Hannibal Grandchester. Morticia nearly dies giving birth to their only child, Lucy. Hannibal never wanted a child and resents the young girl for the near death of his wife. Please proceed to the next room.
Up the stairs to the left-hand side of the entrance is a plaque that reads as follows. Morticia Grandchester ordered this stairway to be built in an effort to confuse the evil spirit possessing her daughter, Lucy. A secondary plaque on the far wall reads, throughout the mansion you'll find doors like this one that open to blank walls in an attempt to confuse the spirits possessing Lucy, the Grandchester's daughter. Upon opening several doors, we learn this to be true. Heading to the next room as instructed while disabling traps set by an unknown, the narration continues.
As a young child, Lucy proves difficult for her elderly parents. In this very room, her mother read her stories by Shelley and Poe and histories of the Borgias. With no friends to speak of, she would capture small animals to play with. Their skins were found nailed to the undersides of the furniture.
Upon the wall of this room is a further plaque next to a portrait of the mother of the family. It reads, Portrait of Morticia Grandchester. Photographs suggest that the artist took many liberties to make her look more youthful and attractive. Was this youthful imagery the request of Morticia, or potentially her husband seeking to reminisce on the days of his younger wife? Continuing our journey as instructed, we enter the next room.
Morticia was soon convinced her daughter was possessed. Hannibal was certain to the evil out of her. Morticia complained every morning of ghostly chills afflicting her in this very hall. Taking the advice of her psychic, she persuaded Hannibal to build fireplaces to drive the spirits from it.
There's yet another plaque upon the wall which reads as follows. Throughout her short life, Lucy was fascinated with fire. She liked to throw insects into the flames and watch them burn. Continuing on through the creepy Grandchester hallways, we follow the narrator's lead and head to the next room.
Morticia's psychic insisted that Lucy could be saved by driving out her evil spirits. Rooms such as this one were built to confuse the spirits, making it more difficult for them to find Lucy. One morning, Hannibal came in here to find a doll that looked suspiciously like him, swinging from a noose.
Another black reads, after creating this upside down room, the Grandchesters stopped receiving visitors. Most of their high society friends had begun to shun them by then anyway. We move on over to the pantry where the narration continues.
Hannibal's favorite cook quit. He put mice in the stew. Also where Lucy first attempted to kill her parents by poisoning the dessert. Hannibal walked with a cane after that. Lucy quickly learned to stay out of range of his swing.
Behind a locked master door, we uncover a gruesome sight, the remains of wasteland survivors. The cause is revealed later. A plaque in this pantry reads, "The Grandchesters had trouble keeping staff, especially cooks, once Lucy was old enough to run the mansion. The longest serving cook was Granny Ratchet, whom they hired from a prison. She quit after 5 months, declaring Lucy to be Satan's spawn." Heading through the now open door atop the small staircase leading to the main entrance where we began, our tour continues.
As we pass back through the parlor, notice the stairway going nowhere. This was yet another attempt by Morticia to confuse the evil spirits possessing her daughter.
Further doors continue to lead nowhere. As we progress further, we learn of the extreme measures Morticia would take in concerns to her daughter, Lucy.
Madame Scarlata conducted seances in this room for Morticia in an attempt to drive the evil spirits from her daughter. Lucy would sit in the room above this one and knock on the ceiling during seances. Madame Scarlata once accused the little girl of trying to push her down the stairs. There is no need to be scared. Modern science has proven that ghosts are not real and seances are fake. When the Grandchester Mystery Mansion was sold at auction, several trick candles were found here. Please proceed to the next room.
A further plaque in this room reads, "When curators investigated this room, they found a variety of hidden speakers, tripwires, fog machines, and other devices clearly used to stage false seances." It's following this narration that we first encounter the young girl from the upstairs window, presumably Lucy. Although the young girl is able to see the sole survivor, she isn't interactable, posing the thought that she might not be really there. Continuing on into the hallway, we're met with Lucy once more as the narration continues, before the young girl disappears right before our eyes.
In this room, you will artifacts from Lucy Grandchester's short time on this earth. Replicas of these items may be purchased in the souvenir shop. What child would not want to play with a toy boning knife like the one Lucy used to skin small animals? For adults, functional replicas are available. When you are done browsing, please proceed to the next room.
We now reach the bedrooms and learn more to the tragic tale of the Grandchester family.
After After impaling his foot on a rusty spike that was mysteriously driven into his shoe, Hannibal came to Lucy's room to punish her for the prank. We'll never know for sure how it happened, but he was found with a pair of scissors driven through his eye and into his brain. Lucy claimed she was holding them in self-defense as he tried to beat her with his cane. She said he tripped and fell onto the scissors. When asked why his fingers had all been cut off, she replied that it was so he couldn't hold the cane again. Lucy's mother was found dead in the master bedroom with a cloth doll stuffed in her mouth. Her wrists had rope burns, but no ropes were ever found. Lucy insisted that the doll was solely responsible because Morticia wouldn't give her a kiss goodnight. Lucy was committed to an asylum. On her 18th birthday, she escaped. 9 days later, she was found hanging in the attic, dead from an apparent suicide. Please proceed to the next room.
Inside, yet another plaque, this time reading, "After the gruesome murders of Lucy's parents, the police confiscated dozens of items from this room. There were assorted knives, makeshift weapons, animal bones, and toxic substances." Strangest of all was a journal written in some sort of code that was never deciphered. Unfortunately, all of those items remain in police evidence lockers to this day. Heading to the next room, we're met with Zachariah, a former member of the Gunner faction who's seemingly residing here. After putting him down and accessing his terminal nearby, we learn that he was the one setting the traps in the mansion to capture travellers, such as the ones in the lower room. Strangely, we also learn from this terminal that Zachariah was also experiencing the sound of laughter we had witnessed ourselves, but mentioned no visible sightings. Was there a reason the young lady revealed herself to the sole survivor and no one else? After losing the former gunner, we're granted the mansion key, giving us an exit, but to the right of the exit is a secondary door which we need to investigate. Upon opening, we're met with Lucy once more, and this time we're able to interact. Is this because we dealt with Zachariah, as Lucy now feels somewhat safer? As Lucy heads off to traverse her home, we head upstairs to the attic, the sound of footsteps surrounding us. Encountering Lucy for one final time, she heads through a closed doorway, which is revealed to us to be yet another blocked passage. After this final meet, it's time to leave this place. So after exploring 10 or so accessible rooms, what did we learn of the tale of the Grandchester family, and what was the true motive behind the murders committed by Lucy upon her parents? Morticia, the mother, gave birth to Lucy, a birth that almost killed her. Hannibal, the father, resented Lucy for this, often blaming her. Hannibal claimed he never wanted children to begin with. As she grew older, Lucy became a difficult child, and although her mother would try to show love, Lucy would continue to display psychotic traits as she captured, tortured, and skinned small animals and rodents with a toy boning knife. The parents believed Lucy to be possessed by a demon of some sort, or the devil himself, as the behaviours continued. Hannibal would beat Lucy because of his hatred and distaste towards the daughter he was supposed to love, claiming he was doing it to drive away the demons, when in reality he was just a bit of a sick and twisted individual. Lucy's actions and concerning ways would drive away those surrounding her. One action, for example, would be an obsession with fire. Staff would leave, even those who had been there for some time, and neighbours would cease to visit. Morticia would continue to do what she could to drive away the apparent demons she believed possessed her daughter, such as building a hallway of fireplaces, creating doors and stairways that lead to nowhere, building an upside-down room, and even hiring a medium to perform a seance, the latter of which Lucy really disapproved of, as she attempted to push the psychic down the stairs, or so it was claimed. Lucy would begin to display signs of hatred towards the father who beat her. firstly creating a doll that resembled him, hanging it from a ceiling by a noose, symbolising a death she wished upon him. Lacey would later convert these thoughts to reality as she attempted to poison her parents' meals with toxins and dead mice, one of which resulted in a physical disability of her father, forcing him to now walk with a cane for the remainder of his days. Lucy would eventually up her game. Firstly placing a spike in her father's shoe, potentially to slow him down, she would use this to her advantage as she would take a pair of scissors and drive it into his eye socket, impaling his brain and killing him in the process. Lucy would later claim that he slipped and fell. Following his death, Lucy cut off his fingers. When questioned as to her actions, Lucy simply stated it was so he couldn't hold his cane anymore, the same cane Hannibal would use to beat her with. She would kill her mother too, and although it's not specifically stated, it's emphasised that this was on the same night. She used a small cloth doll, suffocating Morticia in the process. A police statement stated that the mother's wrists displayed signs of rope burns, although no rope was uncovered. It would be apparent that Lucy tied her mother up, blocking her escape, and that the doll was soaked in some form of toxin, inebriating the mother before her death from asphyxiation. The paranormal apparition of Lucy is seen to be wearing these ropes around her waist, a trophy of sorts maybe. Lucy would claim that the cloth doll acted alone on Lucy's behalf, all because Morticia wouldn't kiss Lucy goodnight. Lucy was captured and taken to a youth asylum for her actions. Upon inspection of the crime scene, authorities would discover the clues of the troubled girl's childhood, such as knives, makeshift weapons, small animal bones, toxic substances, as well as a personal journal kept by Lucy, written in a strange code, with many believing this to be the hand of the devil. Years later, on her 18th birthday, she would escape and return to her family home, before tragically taking her own life via a hanging 9 days after her birthday. So we know the pretty detailed past of the Grandchester family, but was Lucy born plain evil, or was this the result of a horrid upbringing that led to the cause of her actions? As an only child, most would expect Lucy to have it all, her parents to shower her with love and gifts as she lived the life of a princess, but this was not the case. So in order to understand the character of Lucy Grandchester, we must first analyse her actions. Lucy was unwanted by her father, receiving no love and nothing but beatings. She would look to her mother for comfort and safety, but the torrid treatment continued. Lucy would capture and torture young animals. This may have been her producing learned behaviour. She had first-hand experience of a much larger and stronger individual torturing and bullying something significantly smaller and weaker, hence her relationship with her father, so it's all Lucy knew. Although loved by her mother, Lucy would begin to notice that Morticia was aware of Lucy's abuse and chose to ignore this instead of protecting her daughter, potentially because Hannibal was mistreating her also. Morticia seems to have begun to experience a mental decline, leading to erratic behaviour, such as hiring mediums, as she convinced herself that her daughter was possessed, ignoring the possible and probable fact that she was just a victim of abuse. Hannibal witnessed this and used it. He would convince Morticia that he would need to beat the demons out of his daughter, when in reality he was just fulfilling his own sick and demented power-mad fantasies. We uncover this information as we learn Hannibal was staging the seances. Lucy continued to experience this horrid upbringing, torn between the love from her mother and a hatred from her father, often leading to confusing and conflicting decisions and thoughts, so of course she wouldn't have a great grasp on reality. Continuing on with these behaviours led to even further isolation, as friends of her family and staff members of the Grandchester estate would distance themselves, leaving Lucy alone in a situation she couldn't quite figure out. She killed her father because of the abuse, and killed her mother because she failed to protect her. Again, Lucy had been raised with something of a contradicting outlook on how to treat another human being. We witness her outlook on life following the death of her parents, where she produced a lack of fathomable reasoning as to her actions. She knew no better, and after escaping the asylum and returning to her family home, Lucy ultimately chose to rejoin her parents. She had no one else in this world. If you enjoyed what you saw today, you all know what to do, and if you're new to the channel and haven't subscribed already, please consider doing so. Thank you all for watching. You've been listening to Phil of Philby Gaming, and I'll see you in the next video.